morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Manchester stand. I'm Eamon Borland. I'm here to introduce some colleagues who are going to talk about how we believe Greater Manchester can help drive the national industrial strategy that is now emerging from government thinking. And we think GM and Greater Manchester is uniquely positioned to be able to deliver industrial growth across the whole of the north in order to meet both our objectives and those of government. There's a few of us who will be taking part today, and I'll introduce Steve Rumbelow from Rochdale, Jim Taylor from Sulphur, and Teresa Grant from Trafford to tell us a lot about how we're taking forward not strategies and ideas but specific projects and delivery as we're moving forward. I said, my name's Eamon Borland. I'm delighted and proud to be appointed as the first Chief Executive of the Greater Manchester Combined Authority, taking on half of Howard's role as he moves on, and representing a fantastic city region. Most of you know the stats I'm about to share with you, but it's just worth remembering and reminding ourselves just what a significant player Greater Manchester is. 2.7 million people, and that's up by over 217,000 in the last 15 years. And we believe that will grow by another 300,000 over the next 20 years, and that's what we are planning to cater for. And within that city region, a fantastically vibrant business base, 105,200 businesses. That's a huge number. It's not huge enough. And one of our key objectives as a combined authority is to grow that business base as we move forward and enable more entrepreneurs to take advantage of the fantastic conditions that exist for partnership and for growth in Greater Manchester. And those businesses support 1.25 million jobs. And again, we envisage that will grow by over 100,000 over the next 10 years and by another 250,000 over the next 25 years. And that's why we are planning at a spatial level in the way that we are to accommodate that growth in the way that we believe can be the most sustainable way of delivering that in the city region as a whole. And we have important centres of vibrancy, over 100,000 full-time students in the conurbation core, and 5 fantastic and some world-class academic institutions who are key to the delivery of our long-term future and our goals. We are 10 authorities working together, uniquely, I think, and of course always seamlessly and without any contention or difficulty. And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. But we work very, very hard to make certain that we've got a consistent and coherent agenda for GM as a whole. And as I've said, as we face up to Brexit and as we face up to the government's attempt to introduce an industrial strategy, we believe that the revised Greater Manchester strategy can set out a blueprint for how the government's objectives for growth can be delivered and how we can help drive the northern powerhouse that we remain absolutely committed to as we move forward. And the emerging Greater Manchester strategy, the emerging Greater Manchester spatial framework really start to articulate how we will take those things forward. But as I said at the start of this, I'm not going to stand here and talk to you about strategies. A dearly departed friend of mine once said to me, that's enough bleep strategy, now get on and do something. And in that vein, I'd like to hand over first to Steve Rumbelow, who'll start to take us through some examples of the real growth that's been driven forward in places right the way across GM. Steve.
Thanks, Eamon. I am actually going to talk a little bit about strategies because that was the brief. I think as many of you will know, the UK government is currently out of consultation with its industrial strategy, finished on the 17th of April, so everyone's busily working on responses to that. And whether you agree with the decision to leave the EU or not, what's really important for UK PLC is that we take the opportunity to make fresh choices about our economy, even if that's only so we can keep coming back here. You can laugh if you wish. Okay, we have an opportunity to deliver a bold, long-term industrial strategy that uses the strengths from cities like Manchester to give us a sustainable future, economically speaking. The aim of the government strategy is very simple on one level. It's seeking to create an economy that, as the Prime Minister often says, works for everyone. An economy that delivers good, skilled jobs, well-paid jobs, and creates the conditions for competitive, world-leading businesses to prosper and grow right across the UK. The Northern Powerhouse, of course, has got to be central to that, and one of the weaknesses in the government strategy is that whilst it locates the powerhouse, it doesn't really follow through and say how government is going to help to deliver it, and that's something that we're looking at in GM in terms of our response. The national strategy is built on 10 pillars, a lot of which you'll be familiar with, you've seen before in previous strategies: boosting skills, increasing investment, research and development, supporting growth in sectors. But the one thing that does set this strategy out on its own, which is different and differentiates it from the past, is that it recognises the importance of place. And that's something that we believe we've got to capitalise on. It's all very well having a business policy, a policy for infrastructure, policies for skills, but if they don't work together, then we're going to be missing a massive opportunity going forward. If the strategy is going to stand the test of time, it really needs to get all parts of the UK firing on all cylinders. UK PLC productivity will only be maximised if we've got a nationwide place-based industrial strategy. The risk with these 10 pillars is that it helps government to stay in its silos, and that's something that we've got to ensure doesn't happen. Place-based solutions are going to require true cross-governmental working and more devolution. And that's what the Greater Manchester strategy is all about. It's about joining areas up to enable them to identify the opportunities across the economy so that businesses can grow, create more jobs, and spread the benefits of our economic success across the city region to the benefit of UK as a whole. We start from a position of strength in Greater Manchester, the second biggest economy in the UK, an employment rate that's never been higher, world-leading industries from health innovation, digital industries, to engineering and financial services. But we acknowledge the challenges we face. Growth has not been even across Greater Manchester, and not everyone has benefited. Prospects and opportunities for people and businesses vary too much at the moment. We have world-class business, but some are not yet achieving the potential. We're facing up to those challenges and making the big decisions that are needed to create a stronger Greater Manchester. And that's been reflected through in our own refresh of the Greater Manchester strategy. Creating a Greater Manchester built on growth still, but built on inclusive growth and sustainable growth. Our strategy has got 3 golden threads that run through it: assets, people, and place. It means driving economic growth and productivity through a particular focus on high-value sectors, on assets that are or have the potential to be world-leading and globally distinctive. It means removing the barriers that prevent people from playing their full part in the economic success of Greater Manchester, so that no one is left behind. And that's got a particular focus on the skills agenda, of course. And it means investing in our places so that an attractive environment in which to live, work and invest is something that we have. What we want to do now is move on and talk about some of our opportunities going forward. Supporting growth in manufacturing is a central plank of the Greater Manchester strategy. Manufacturing employs 114,000 people across the city region, generates 8 billion GVA. We've got world-leading companies, including household names, Siemens, Heinz Foods, Unilever, all located and growing in the city region. Rochdale, my patch, is the biggest manufacturing employer in Greater Manchester, and what we have in spades is space to grow. In Rochdale, the Northern Gateway has the potential to transform the economic growth prospects of the north-east of the conurbation. It's a collection of sites forming a new nationally significant growth area, offering an extensive range of high-quality development opportunities. Like Rochdale itself, the Gateway couldn't be in a better location, on the main route connecting Greater Manchester to Liverpool to the west, Leeds and Hull to the east, and Lancashire to the north. Quality opportunities on that site for advanced manufacturing, but also an attractive site for the UK's booming logistics industry too. really is about space to grow for Rochdale. The Northern Gateway has the potential to provide 2.7 million square metres of new business space, around 9,500 new homes, space for circa 40,000 new jobs. There are 3 distinct parcels which make up the Gateway, each with a mix of employment and housing sites. This is a strategic site. It fits with our strategy, helping to rebalance the GM economy, creating a more inclusive, more vibrant, and therefore way more successful economy. Jim is now going to take you through a few opportunities in wider GM.
Thanks, Steve. Morning, everybody. I'm just going to talk to a couple of projects. One which is very familiar to all of you, really, Media City UK. It clearly is a smart place to invest, to innovate, to create, and also a real environment where people do actually work, live, learn, and relax. It's a 20-year journey, actually, and it's one of the UK's most successful regeneration projects and a leading digital location in Europe. And Media City UK has been developed on a 36-acre site, historic Sulphur Quays complex, and it's Europe's first purpose-built business hub for creative and tech industries. At the moment, there's 700,000 square feet of office space, 250,000 square feet of studio space, extensive retail and leisure facilities, along with residential accommodation. Scale of the activity does make it a leading location outside of London. Estimates suggest that the media creative digital cluster comprises more than 250 firms which are currently located there. It's an area of super growth, one of GM's main economic drivers, and it generates over 1.4 billion gross GVA per year. There is quite exceptional employment growth there. It surpassed national local trends, and it provides over 30,000 jobs for the region. Obviously, BBC is located down there at Media City UK. 30% of the BBC staff actually work in digital and technology roles across iPlayer, BBC websites, mobile apps, R&D, engineering. And the density of creative and digital sector companies at one single location has a huge positive impact in terms of employment, increased skill levels, and also spillover effects right across the whole of Greater Manchester. And with further opportunities at Media City UK, that knowledge and spillover will actually increase. Okay, so I mentioned Media City expanding. There's over £1 billion worth of expansion in the next 10 years. Media City is due to double in size, and it's projected to invest in another 30 to 40,000 jobs for the city region over that period of time. Shamelessly plug the Media City UK. Is a MIPIM award finalist for the best urban regeneration project, and please show your support by voting in the awards gallery located in Palais 1, level 1. It's the last time I mentioned that. But it is a Greater Manchester project, shortlisted 4, so I would ask for your support. Thank you. So just moving on to one of the second key gateways. Steve talked about the Northern Gateway. I'd like to just focus a little bit on the Greater Manchester Western Gateway, and I'll just talk about one particular project and I'll hand over to Therese, who'll take you through a couple more. But the Western Gateway actually encompasses the area on the western side of Greater Manchester, stretches from Sulphur Quays, funneling out to the west along both sides of the Manchester Canal Corridor, and Salford, Trafford and Warrington local authority boundaries. And the Western Gateway's position within a wider geography provides an opportunity to play a leading role in delivering the national industrial strategy. And one of those particular projects is Port Salford, which is a trimodal facility which offers excellent connectivity by road, rail and water. Construction of phase 1 is underway. There's 150,000 square metres of warehousing and processing floor space, and the future phase 2 is comprising a total site area of 250 acres and potential floor space of up to 400,000 square metres, and is estimated to create at least 6,000 jobs. So there is an opportunity to develop industrial clusters in logistics and manufacturing, as well as emerging growth sectors such as low carbon and modular construction. And the presence of major consumer demand, there are 35 million people within a 150-mile radius of this site, and close proximity to the GM Western Gateway is already attracting major logistics investments, so that includes Colina and Great Bear. And just the last slide from me before I hand over to Teresa. So on the supply side, the potential land available on either side of the M62 is circa 830 hectares for residential and 430 hectares for employment development. And applied industry standards, that could accommodate in the region of 25,000 homes and 1.5 million square metres of employment floor space, equating to around 19,000 jobs. And the three locations for large-scale employment include Port Sulphur, Carrington, Earlham and Cadishead. And that, I think, leads nicely into what Teresa will be covering for you now. Teresa?
Thanks, Jim. As Eamon said, we are very joined up in Greater Manchester and there's never any conflict or competition. So I'm going to cover Trafford and Manchester today and to showcase some of the sites in Trafford. So Trafford, located in the south of Greater Manchester, and we have a number of large-scale employment sites, including Carrington and Trafford Waters. These sites offer some of the most significant opportunities in GM and are ideal for large-scale and advanced employment and development and new residential communities. I'm going to describe some of the features of the sites and then talk to you about Manchester City's innovation district known as the Corridor of Manchester. Carrington. We have quite a unique site in Carrington. The site offers potential for the creation of a flagship development, making a significant contribution to meeting the housing and employment growth ambitions for Greater Manchester. There's capacity for in excess of 11,500 new homes and around 8 million square feet of new employment space alongside new community and local facilities. The employment land is suitable for a range of sectors, including logistics, advanced manufacturing, energy, and commercial. The site is an established commercial location and has excellent motorway links, access to Manchester Ship Canal, and the ambitious plans for the development will deliver significant infrastructure improvements, including new strategic highways. Trafford Waters, adjacent into Trafford Centre and Trafford Leisure Village. The Trafford Waters site provides the opportunity for a new urban village, which enjoys a waterfront location alongside the Bridgewater and Manchester Ship Canals. It's accessible by a range of sustainable means, and Peel Holdings secured planning permission in October 2016 for up to 3,000 new homes and around 1 million square feet of employment space. Trafford Waters is an unrivaled opportunity to deliver high-density development in Trafford, which is possible due to the unique nature of the site and location. Metrolink. We're very fortunate to have an extension to Metrolink through Trafford Park, and it will serve new developments within the Western Gateway, providing improved transport links between Trafford and Manchester, and improving access to employment in Trafford Park, which is the oldest and largest industrial park in Europe, and will also bring people to shop into Trafford Centre. Altair scheme. As part of the ongoing transformation of Altrincham Town Centre, the Altair site will provide a high-density mixed-use development adjacent to the redeveloped Altrincham interchange. The completed scheme will provide 150 new apartments, 138,000 square feet of new retail, commercial and leisure, incorporating a new leisure centre as well. Phase 1 of the development for 59 new apartments and new commercial use alongside the existing ice rink commenced early this year, I'm pleased to say. But Greater Manchester is not just about development sites. We're also putting Greater Manchester's strengths in science, research and innovation at the heart of our industrial strategy. So the corridor. Corridor Manchester is the city's innovation district. It currently has a workforce of 60,000 and is home to 72,000 students spanning 2 world-class universities and Europe's largest clinical campus. Corridor Manchester will see 2.8 billion investment up to 2025. And this growth in the knowledge economy is driving the economic fortunes of the city and the whole of the North region. Significant development within the corridor include Circle Square, a mixed-use development offering office space, retail, luxury apartments, private accommodation and communal performance space. The University of Manchester. The campus master plan, which through £1 billion of investment is creating a single campus and world-class facilities for staff and students. The 61 million National Graphene Institute opened its doors in March 2015. Also, a £60 million Graphene Engineering Innovation Centre will enable the acceleration of applied R&D in partnership with other research organisations and industry, and the £235 million Sir Henry Royce Advanced Materials Institute will be a world-leading centre for materials research. City Labs opened its doors in 2014 and is a £25 million flagship development of the city's former Royal Eye Hospital into 100,000 square feet of bespoke-built biomedical facilities. It's a prime location within Europe's largest clinical academic campus, comprising Central Manchester University Hospitals and the University of Manchester. So what really sets Greater Manchester's opportunities apart is the breadth and the crossover between these types of developments. The convergence of manufacturing, health innovation and digital offers untold opportunities, and we're really excited about the possibility that our city holds. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand back to Eamon now to summarise. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Steve. And thanks particularly to Steve for sticking to the script after my lousy introduction. I do apologise for that, Steve. But just an illustration, that if anyone's been to Rochdale, this is Rochdale Town Hall. And if you see what the council have done in the investment in public realm in Rochdale Town Centre to create a platform for private sector investment to follow, it's a great example of what can be done. And I think Rochdale should be very proud of what it's achieved. So very, very quickly from me, you've heard from a number of colleagues about how, in terms of those key areas, key sectors that will drive growth, creative and digital science, advanced manufacturing, we are actually getting on and delivering the capability to do that, and we have the capacity to do so much more. And that's really at the heart of our strategy, and it's the heart of our confidence that we believe that Greater Manchester can lead the Northern Powerhouse and lead the industrial strategy for the UK as a whole. And as we move forward, and my first job is to get the elected mayor into office, we will be seeking to redouble our efforts to re-engage with government on a meaningful discussion about what further devolutionary powers are necessary to enable us to drive that agenda forward. But thank you very much for listening this morning. Cheers.